for potentially the last time ever. Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And in just a couple of days, this setup's going because I'm moving back to Wales. But before I do, we have got this phenomenal show for you guys today. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of controversial topics to talk about. So with me, I need a controversial panel, and let's kick things off with the most controversial man at Wrestling Republic right now. How are you, Clark?
I know that Bischoff said that, Mr. Eric Bischoff, sorry, show a little bit of respect there, said that controversy creates cash. That was not my intention here. I hope everyone knows that. If you know me well enough, I was just talking about pro wrestling, which I really love to do. And I'm stoked to get into it today. Normally we have mail. I'm a little bit disappointed. The last time you're in London, of course, it gets lost in the mail. It's sent to Wales. All the letters ended up in Wales. And I don't know.
We're out of it.
I don't know if it's the UK, if it's a government issue, if it's a mail issue.
It's the global tech issues from last weekend, isn't it?
It's Microsoft. Everyone blame Microsoft. That's what it is.
Screen.
100%.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not Mailbag Monday today because very simply, in actuality, I posted the story last night, or at least I thought I did post the story last night. I woke up this morning, I didn't check it. I presumed it was all fine. Went to check it this afternoon, and it said upload failed. So we have no questions, but instead we're going to be answering some of our own because there is quite a bit.
Hi, Shad.
Hi, Shad.
Hi, Shad.
Hi, guys.
Bye, Shad.
Hi, Sol. Hi, Sol. How are you, Sol?
Oh, still good as always. Still in Mexico, chilling and enjoying myself. So, yeah. I was a bit surprised because I was at dinner and I looked at the Rest Republic story and I was like, well, he's not posted the Mailbag Monday stuff. I was like, I could message him, but he's probably going to save it until morning time in the UK. So I went to bed, woke up, and I got your message where I was canning like, he messed up for this new era of the daily as well. So, starting off this era with a bang.
Yeah, we are also kicking off the new era of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast today. Basically, based on what you guys said to us when we did audience feedback and all that, people wanted more 3-person shows, so we're going to do that, and we're also going to go off just a few minutes shorter every day as well, but it should be a lot of fun. But talking about things wrapping up earlier than expected, John Cena's career is of course wrapping up in the next year. 2025 will be his last year in professional wrestling. But Clark, my question for you, right, isn't who should he face on his retirement tour. It's not how should he go out, but it is for his very last match, December 2025, who should he face?
I thought about this a long time. And at the end of the day, it's got to be his greatest rival, at least in my eyes. And pending health, knock on wood, everybody, Randy Orton Cena one last time. Come on. We've talked about once in a lifetime in Cena's career earlier. We got it twice. That was great. We've had a bunch when it comes to Orton and Cena, but knowing the finality of that match, I can't see a B-side other than Orton that can truly stand in front of him and make it what Cena deserves for all the time he's given to this industry. And I think Orton deserves it too. That is his greatest rivalry he's ever had. And that's the route I would go if possible. There's a huge list of names it could be. And I understand there might be some people that are saying like, hey, Clark, why would you not pick an up-and-comer for Cena to go over? I think that the whole going out on your back thing's a bit dated. What happened with Sting in his retirement match in this very year, I get different company, but was absolutely beautiful. I think it worked pretty much perfectly. He didn't need to go out on his back. I don't think Cena needs to go out on his back. I think he can go over Orton one last time. They can create a blood feud, and it works perfectly. I don't necessarily believe he needs to put someone over on the way out.
I mean, that is a fair enough take, and a lot of people agree with you, that is for sure. I mean, number one Superfly just here is saying the same thing. Randy Orton. Shard saying that would be dope, but we actually had an opinion submitted to us here at Wrestling Republic today, and it'll be posted tomorrow, so it's a bit of a spoiler for you guys. But the anonymous follower says John Cena shouldn't face CM Punk or Randy Orton on his retirement tour. They are older now, and it won't be what it was. I mean, what's your response to that, Clark?
I would say that you have to get what you can while it's still available. And
Fair.
I don't know that there's necessarily a dream match beyond Cena facing one of his greatest rivals that you can build bigger, than that for the finale, unless you're really, really, really trying to put someone else over. And I don't see Cena. This is not a knock on Cena. I don't think it makes sense, given the course of his career, for him to be the guy that goes out on his back the way that Austin did, but then didn't. Right?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? The way that Undertaker might have and then didn't.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you're saying it's
Shawn Michaels did and then didn't. Right? Like the list goes on and on and on and on. And I think I understand the age issue, and I'm not trying to discount that. It does make sense, but how we've already built once in a lifetime. This is once in a lifetime because it's done. There's never another chance to do it.
That's true.
Orton and Cena, the book is closed. The book is closed if the final chapter isn't written in the final match, and that would be my response to that one.
That would be very exciting indeed, but still, I'm interested to get your thoughts on this. Who should John Cena face in his final match in WWE in December 2025?
So I think in 2025, most importantly, I think with Cena, his retirement run will be associated with one word, and that's elevation. So I'm going to start the year off where I think it's going to start off. I think John Cena is going to win the Royal Rumble next year, and he's going to challenge.
It's meant to be just the last match.
I need to build things up. I can't just give the one. We can't go straight to the main meal. You need the appetizers before you get to the main meal, all right, son? Can you jump the queue?
I'm a big abs guy too.
Look, okay, quickly. John Cena wins the Royal Rumble, faces Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 41, his last Mania, wins it, gets the accolade, and a complete entire year is a World Heavyweight Championship run for John Cena as he elevates that title, goes against Orton, Punk. You could even do Cody if you want. You could do some other individuals that maybe are coming back and having a bit of fun with. But the final match, I think, will be something that harkens back to Cena's entry to the WWE with that match with Kurt Angle. I think John Cena's final opponent will be Braun Breaker for the World Heavyweight Championship, which Breaker will win and become a champion and retiring Cena. I think for Cena to go out, it really needs to be a moment that, elevates something. We harken back to Sting, and what Sting, in my mind, elevated. I think he elevated the prestige of the AEW tag team titles with its history. If you look back on those tag titles history in AEW, you can see that Sting won those, and that was his final championship. That's a hell of an accolade to have. And the World Heavyweight Championship right now, yes, it's being held by Priest, which he's going to be facing Gunther for at SummerSlam, but there could be an extra prestige to that as well. And being it the title that got John Cena the 17 and the final title he held in the WWE, that's a hell of an accolade to have on it with itself. And for somebody who really needs an elevation to be a top menacing heel like Braun Breaker, to retire Cena and get a championship on top of that, that's huge for him. And I also think Braun would be a great guy to have a final match with Cena. We see his matches in NXT, we've seen him on the main roster, and he's killed it. I think Braun could become so much more with a final match against Cena.
I wholeheartedly agree, Saul. A brilliant take there, because it would elevate Braun Breaker. It'd be kind of a passing of the torch, saying, hey, you're the next face of the company, you take this torch and you run. But Shaw doesn't want to see it. Shaw doesn't want to see him get Kurt Angle, Braun Breaker, but But it certainly is. It's going to be an interesting one, no matter what happens. Number one Superfly is saying, "What if John Cena goes after the Intercontinental Championship, the only title he's never won in his entire career?" Which is what Clark was saying for the longest time. To be fair, so I do have to give him a bit of credit there.
I think that's the next move. It's the most logical move. It's the only missing piece in what is nearly a perfect career. It's like the golfer that hasn't won one of the 4 majors, but has won the other ones multiple times. The tennis player, same situation, right? Like, even if you look at the footballer, the soccer player that maybe has been very successful in clubs and in Champions League action and stuff, but not necessarily in the Euros or in the World Cup. Similar scenario there with John Cena, right? That's the one missing piece for the perfect resume. And you don't have many people in our lifetime that are that close to having a perfect resume and leave that stone unturned. So that I do think is something that they gotta kind of get right along the way on this retirement tour.
Do you know what? Right, I have a feeling that they're actually gonna put him in positions to do both. I reckon they're gonna have him go after the World Championship, try and become a 17-time champion, and he'll get to the top of the mountain. He'll win a lot of matches on his retirement tour, get that match, and then in that match, I reckon he's gonna lose. He's going to lose. He won't win it. He won't become a 17-time champion. Then he'll have an Intercontinental Championship shot. And in that match, he'll also lose. He won't do that either. It's just a heartbreaking tour. Everybody's crying. And then I think there's 2 ways about it. You could go for the main... not main event at WrestleMania. For the last match for John Cena. One route you could go, which this isn't my actual pick, but it's a secondary pick, I'll say, right? Because neither of you guys have said it. If this guy, right, actually does have some momentum by then, I would not hate the idea of running back the Theory feud and doing it right. But that's only... that's only if this breakup with Grayson Waller turns Theory into this big babyface, right? He was a heel before. Austin Theory could do a thing of, hey, when I was a heel... Well, he's not going to say that, but, when I was, bad guy before, I beat you, but, it hurt me more than it helped me. And now I want to shake your hand and I want to do it the right way. I want to beat you the right way and I want to be the person you pass the torch to. I want that to be me.
Well, Ben, that's a heck of a theory.
Hate it.
Yeah, well,
I don't hate it.
I mean, folks, welcome to the new era of the Daily. Great streaming content, but Allison predictions still suck.
What? You want Theory?
No, so that's not my pick. That's not my pick, right? But I'm saying,
I would hope not.
If Theory does get some momentum, which I'm going to be honest, I don't know if he will. But let's say if this Grayson Waller... Right? In theory, if Theory gets some momentum in his feud with Grayson Waller, then I would not hate that. But what I actually would do, John Cena's last match, he's lost it all his hopes have gone out the window. He's not become a 17-time world champion. He's not become a Grand Slam champion. And then in his retirement match... he faces the next big thing, Obafemi, and Obafemi just absolutely murders him in his last match. He goes out on his back, literally. He gets powerbombed on his back multiple times. It's just an absolute murder, right? And Obafemi is established as the next Brock Lesnar, the next whatever you want to call him, the next... oh my gosh, this guy is in the ring. He is going to destroy whoever he sees. Did you see what he did to John Cena in his retirement match?
I would love it, but I just don't see them doing it to John.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. I
like it in theory.
Theory is fine, but I think for Cena's final tour, it really will be a celebration of him and what he's done for the company. It's going to be the highlight tour. It's going to be looking back on what he's done. I could fully see him going through the year of like how every T-shirt he's had different colors and all that. I could see maybe every month a new T-shirt design or harking back to old colors. I truly think this will be a big. I think this is probably going to be the most celebration year for the WWE with what Cena's done. They're gonna milk this to high heaven.
They absolutely will. And by the way, Saul, I agree with that. And I think he's going to win pretty much all his matches on his retirement tour. But right at the end, I think the retirement tour is going to turn into a nightmare. Hopefully not an American nightmare, because John Cena versus Cody Rhodes is quite literally Clark's worst nightmare. He might just turn the TV off.
Please, no.
But I honestly reckon have Femi murder John
How
Cena in
many
his final
vacation
match.
days do I have left in case that happens, Ben?
Just get your
You just
bunker
got-
ready, mate. Get your bunker ready, Clark, and you can hide there for the rest of the year.
Seriously.
But honestly, I want to see murder. I want to see Femi just murder John Cena, send him home on his back, literally broken back. Hollywood will be fuming. John Cena won't be able to film anything for a few months, and just establish Femi as like just the absolute. You know, he
Monster.
just kills you. Yeah, I'm not even joking. I genuinely think just murdering John Cena in his final matchup would
Smashes
create-
him.
It would be like awesome.
Like
Cena,
I was
I
at
think-
Brock Cena in 14 when Brock suplexed him 30
Exactly.
times or whatever. It was ridiculous. I've never seen a crowd quieter. You could hear a pin drop, and that crowd was electric.
There's just pop-up powerbomb, pop-up powerbomb, pop-up
Yeah.
powerbomb, pop-up powerbomb, and that's John Cena's final match.
Yeah.
And I think John Cena would be happy to do it. I think he'd be happy to go out being on his back and putting over Femi. You created a new star, you created a new era, and
You
you'll
kind of got me on the Oba thing. I just would love to see it.
Yeah. No, but it would also be the greatest retirement match of all time. Because nobody else in their retirement match has just been murdered.
Just completely tossed out, out to pasture.
Kids crying, all of that. Please. It's
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
I thought I
They're
was the one
throwing
that's negative about
sweatbands in the
WWE.
ring like it's WCW in the 90s with the cups. They're just taking them off and throwing them in the ring because they're mad. Somebody stop this for carnage.
Oh my gosh. Shard saying Cena putting over Cody.
Cody needs more troubles. He's not proven yet.
No.
For us, John B over on Instagram saying that he wants to see Cena use that shuffle a couple more times. He will. We'll see it. He'll bring it out. Don't you worry. But now let's move on because we need to talk. Clark, we need to talk about a little something, right? Because in case you guys missed the show yesterday, Clark said that based on in-ring work, promo work, and consistency, the person who's had the best 2024 so far was Roman Reigns. And I think Will Ospreay was like number 3 on your list, number 3 or 4 on your list.
3.
I mean, I'm sorry, right? And just to make something clear here, you might think Clark's a WWE mark. He's really not. He really is not in any way, shape, or form a WWE mark. And that's why this shocks me so much. If I'm saying Will Ospreay's are the best year, I am shocked that you're not, right? And head of reviewing, David Sheldon, messaged me today, and he said the same thing. He said if I was on the show, I would have said Will Ospreay too. Clark, a lot of people have a lot of questions for you. Do you have the answers?
He doesn't.
Yes.
He's wrong. Skip. Next topic.
Everyone needs to chill. Everyone needs to calm down. I'm a big Will Ospreay fan. I put him real high on the list. And obviously there's a way we're supposed to make these lists. It's based on promos, in-ring work, and consistency. But I also value being important. And if you look at promo work, in-ring work, and consistency, by volume, we've seen a lot more action from Will Ospreay. I think he's amazing. I think he's been the 3rd best this year. I actually put Swerve above him only because he weathered the storm. He had to overcome some adversity in a way that it felt like Ospreay didn't quite have to. But Roman Reigns, with what he did through WrestleMania season, it's this year. It's not this month. It's not last month. It's not the last 2 months. It's not the last 2.5 months. It's this year. And what Roman Reigns accomplished this year is he's the most important person in wrestling. It's that simple. He still is, even while he's away. Even while he's away. The wise man cutting promos on his behalf at the Garden and getting powerbombed. I don't know. It's the most must-watch segment we've seen on WWE the last couple months, I'd say. Who had Paul Heyman getting thrown through a table on their bingo card? That's Roman Reigns. That's at his hand. He's the most important active male wrestler, and he delivered in every match he wrestled in. How many people besides him and Cody were in both main events at WrestleMania? Not very many. I weight that quality over quantity. I'm not saying that Will Ospreay has not delivered quality, because he has. Do not get that twisted. He's put on excellent matches. But the difference to me is there are certain times throughout this calendar year, we're in July, late July, nearly August. There have been times where it comes across a little like you missed what Ospreay did on Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, whatever it is. If there's a shot that Roman Reigns shows up anywhere, no one misses it. He might be there tonight, and there's eyeballs. This is once in a generation, once in a lifetime type stuff. This is the dude that said, I am $1 billion check. And he's right. He's absolutely correct, because any promo segment where there's even a shot that Roman Reigns is on it, all our eyeballs are open. Nobody's blinking. We're all there to see it. And not only that, if it's a match, it's double whammy. If he puts on ring gear, we're freaking out before the match happens.
You're not wrong there, right? And you could very well say that he's currently, the most important wrestler in professional wrestling. He's the biggest draw in professional wrestling.
He's done
you can
the
make a
best
lot of
work
those
this year.
points. Easy. But to say he's the best wrestler this year because of those points,
given his sample size,
why is Cody at 4 then?
difficult
If he
for
was
me
also in
to
those
rank
matches,
ahead of him.
And also,
Because
technically, Seth and
Cody's
Rock
had
were in
stories
both main
that I've
events.
been
They
checked out
appeared.
on. Cody's had multiple stories and multiple promos that didn't matter to me, that were announced in advance and didn't matter.
So
Roman hasn't had not one match, not one promo, not one segment. If he shows up on your TV, you're watching.
So the fact is,
He's the only wrestler you can say that about.
So, the fact you're saying that how Roman is still getting chanted during Bloodline segments shows that he has an aura, which I'll give you a fair point. That's it, but it's only in Bloodline segments. It's not like anyone's chanting it during Cody matches, like, we're sick of Cody, we want Roman back, or something like that. I genuinely, in my mind, do not see how Roman Reigns could be put on the top 10 list of wrestlers in the year when he's only had 2 matches.
Has he had a bad match?
Doesn't matter. He's only had 3 matches.
When did he have them?
What, a Royal Rumble, Mania Night 1 and Night 2. 3 matches. That's it.
And in which spots?
Yeah, main events. Will Ospreay's had
But
matches
does
in
that
New
matter?
Japan,
Yes.
For
consistency, promo work, and total work.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where it is on. It doesn't matter where it is on the card if those are the 3 bits of criteria.
Absolutely, it does.
Well, the thing is, though, you say there, if only one wrestler, we could technically say, like, The Rock, he had 1 match and it was the main event of night 1, and you could put him in at 1 because he had consistent promos and all that. But when you have other wrestlers that do vast more work, yes, their pool of work will be a bit diluted, but that's because they work
and
more.
we could do a workhorse list in the future.
You don't become...
To be fair, he did put Rock on the list. He put Rock on 8.
Hang on.
We can do a volume list in the future.
Well, let's say this. You don't become...
Whoever wrestles the most wins.
Here's the thing. You don't become Employee of the Year by turning up to work 3 times a year.
Not wrong.
I think you're missing the point on that.
I rest my case. You can't be Employee of the Year. You can't be Employee of the Year if you turn up to work 3 times a year.
What if he brings in 90% of your company's sales in those 3 days?
That wasn't the list.
But has the WWE hit a massive
Best
loss?
male wrestler this year. The answer is Roman Reigns.
That is also true.
Here's the thing, though. The company's not tanked. Roman can take time off, and Cody's led it more. I rated Cody above Roman. He didn't even enter my top 10 because Cody is
fonder.
Doesn't ring my heart fonder. I don't give 2 thingies. But look, I
get it. You got the workhorse list.
Look, I don't like. That's because yes, I consume more of the product. I consume the British scene. I consume a lot of the American indies and some of the Japanese style as well. But if you were to just do WWE, I could stop D'Lo Browning it. All right, I can understand why you might want to put Roman on the WWE list, but to put him on the best of like this entire year.
Put Brock Lesnar on a pound for pound list. What are you talking about,
bro? That was because
but
I thought
pound
it was over
for pound is different.
That's
how you can argue Roman Reigns.
10-year period, bro. You can't get me with that, bro. I thought it was over a 10-year period.
That was actually with on Saul's part. But the pound for pound is very different. Like Roman Reigns being the pound for pound top actually makes sense. But
My favorite
anyway,
is that just everybody got so upset about it. It's like, oh wait, the most important guy in the video game, in the industry, the biggest merch seller, put him at the top of the list, and it's like, oh no,
Who's on the cover of the video game? Who's on the
Tom
cover of the
Brady
video
can't
game?
be the best
Cody Rhodes.
quarterback.
but I mean, it's seriously, I received messages from like absolutely everybody about it in the last couple of hours.
Freak it
But
out. Check your feelings at the door, kiddos.
I'm gonna be honest, right? Not all those messages I replied to, and the reason that I didn't reply to some of those messages because some of them, well, they just haven't signed up and gotten next level yet.
Ew.
Now, if you guys don't know what next level is, basically, they've got all our social media links and they put them all in one place. And that one place is nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms linked all in one place. Also, if you do go on that link, you can download the app, and on their app, they have a special wrestling section on it for just wrestling-related accounts. It's a thriving wrestling community. There's nothing else like it, and oh, it's completely and utterly free. You've got nothing to lose, right? It's just an app. The link's got all our links for all our other socials on it. You can find us on Twitter, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram, you can find us wherever, all from that link, nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic, to see all our content across all platforms, linked all in one place. But now it's time to talk a little bit about AEW.
Hooray.
Specifically the trio title scene, Souls Living Live, but everybody's favorite father figure, Christian Cage, is now a trios champions. I mean, he's so good that he managed to win a trios belt on his own, right? He is the trios champion. He's done it on his own. Nobody else has helped him. But my question for you, Soul, is let's not go two ways about it here. Those trios belts feel completely and utterly unimportant and have done for quite a while. How do you think can Christian Cage, how can the patriarchy make these belts feel important once again?
I got to say, I actually do like the idea of Christian Cage just coming out with all belts, or like he has one and gives two to Mama Wayne, and she just carries the other two. That actually would be bloody
He did the other day when they won them. He carried them all.
I did see that, yeah, and then the lights went out, which was funny because obviously in Air Sports Arena. But so I think we can both agree on this, Allison, that the TNT Championship for a good wee bit was devalued. But who was the person to bring that championship into a real main event position? It's Mr. Christian Cage. Bingo. I think Christian having a title is phenomenal because he is just still a great worker and still great on the mic. I think with the patriarchy having the AEW Trios titles is the right move. I genuinely think that if Jay White hadn't gotten hurt, it would have been, the Bang Bang Gang versus the patriarchy at All In. I think that's what the match we were going to get. Now that they have the titles, will he defend them at All In? I mean, the titles were defended last year with obviously House of Black versus Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed. With All In so close, do they have time to build something up for that? I don't necessarily think so, but I think it would be a miss to have Christian Cage off the card. So if anything, like, why not do a thing to celebrate a bit of British wrestling and maybe have, Sanity? That's currently the Progress Tag Team Champions. Maybe have Eric Young come over and do something, if possible. That would be cool, but that's just me going into fancy booking territory. The Trios titles themselves, I think it is hard, though, to build a tag team division and a Trios Championship at the same time, because you basically need to put multiple wrestlers into teams, and it takes away from the single division. Now, the Trios Championship have had a very rough history. Obviously, the Elite won them, a wee brawl happened, and they got vacated. Death Triangle got them and kind of really made them a bit more important. And they had that amazing best of 7 series with the Elite. The Elite handed them off to House of Black. House of Black did a good job. Obviously did the House Rules category with the belts as well. The Acclaimed won them and they were okay for a while. I was excited to see that Bang Bang Gang gain them and obviously unifying with the ROH 6-man titles that have now been fully deactivated apparently. So good on that. Less titles. People can stop complaining. But I think one problem with the Trios titles is that they've always been changing designs. Like, I don't think but minus Death Triangle, there hasn't been a legitimate run with the actual main design of the belts. House of Black had the black designs with the House of Black logos, and the Acclaimed had those scissor belts that were introduced. With this, though, having a definitive look for the titles now, with Christian Cage having them, and obviously being free belts, I think he can properly elevate them. He can go after the young talent like Action Andretti and Top Flight. He can go after Shane Taylor Promotions. He can go after the Lucha Bros with Commander. The fact is that I do think the trios division in AEW is very limited. Now, I hope they can build some teams up for this. I would love to see Adam Copeland come back, team with FTR. Rated FTR versus the Patriarchy would be a very fun feud to have down the line. But nonetheless, I do trust Christian Cage because he's done great things for the TNT Championship. And with the trios, this could build on the story of the eventual collapse of the Patriarchy. So I have all my trust in Christian Cage for the trios championships.
As you should. As you should. Christian Cage, he always knows what he's doing about everything in life. He's your favorite wrestler, all of that stuff. But you mentioned a lot of names there, Soul, and that kind of leads us on to another issue, right? Because right now there's a lot of dirt sheet speculation about certain names potentially going to AEW, potentially not going to AEW. Who knows? And we're not going to know, and we're not going to get into that. But what I do want to get into is whether or not AEW actually has the space to sign any more main event talents right now, without getting rid of one of their current main event talents. Because I'll go first on this one. I think there's absolutely no room for another main event star in AEW. I think if they want to bring anybody else in, they're going to need to get rid of some of their stars. And that's not all. I actually think their roster's too big right now. Why do I think that? Well, because you only have to go on social media, you only have to talk to a few people to know that so many people are being put off AEW due to how many different wrestlers are featured and how it makes it so difficult to keep up with on a weekly basis. And listen, the fact of the matter is, right now, they need new fans. They need to bring in new viewers. That's what they need to do. It's not even about keeping their audience anymore. They need to get a higher audience in. They need to bring people back in. And you can't do that when you're showcasing a huge roster. And before we get into this topic any further, I want to clarify something. Nobody here is saying anybody should lose their jobs. Like we've said when I've discussed this in the past, perhaps they could go to Ring of Honor, perhaps they could do something else. But I'm talking from a purely wrestling and business perspective. I think their roster size is clearly too big. It's too hard to keep up with, and it's not working. If they do want to sign new people, I think they're gonna have to get rid of some of the old. That's my perspective on it. But Soul, I want you to kick us off here. You are a big AEW fan. Is their roster too big?
So what I would say is have a look at the year of 2022, where there was a mass amount of injuries happen. People stood up and took the position in. They brought in people like Claudio Castagnoli. Athena came in that year as well, I believe. And they did some things with them, and they done very well. Now, I think the main problem is, while WWE has probably, I think, twice or three times the size roster of AEW, it's over Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Now, people are saying brand split AEW, do a brand split. I don't think AEW itself, the entity of AEW itself, should do a brand split. I would be fine with like a brand split with Ring of Honor, because that's something that I think is not really clarified. There's no, besides Athena and Billy Starks, it feels like everybody else is just moving between. When you got Mark Briscoe turning up more on AEW television than ROH programming, that's a bit of a problem. I think if they fully actually sit down and make a definitive split between Ring of Honor and AEW, it will be a lot better. But with the roster size, I think another thing as well, AEW signs everybody and they appear on the website. Even the people that come in and just take pins or are there to build up stars. WWE doesn't do that. Well, they don't sign people who might turn into that position, but they don't sign people who are specifically there for that position. Well, AEW does. If you could look on the AEW side, there's men and women that are, no offense, since Dark and Dark Elevation have gone, they're basically assigned to just take the pins and elevate people up. It's not their fault. It's just the role that they have been handed and given. Now, again, with the injuries, we've just seen Sky Blue's been injured. JD Drake of the Workhorseman's been injured as well, of an ankle injury. So there's a lot of injuries going around. Kenny Omega, he's out as well. Like a lot of people gone. Adam Copeland, he's out with an injury, and we don't know when they're going to come back. So to sign another main event star to put in the singles position to elevate or to build upon, I don't see a problem with it. And then when Kenny and Copeland and Sky and all those individuals come back in ready to take back the position that they were, You could do a feud with that. Like, oh, you were God, I'm here, take your position.
Whose
And then-
TV time are they going to take? Because even if they do that feud, they're taking somebody else's TV time if that's the case. It doesn't
Well,
solve the issue.
It's just the nature of the business. Who comes in and gets the TV time is what Tony Khan wants to give to the TV time. Like we saw on Collision, Thunder Rosa and Deanna Prazo had that cool lumberjack match that was great. We saw the Patriarchy versus the Bang Bang Gang, which was fine. There was that spot where Ray Phoenix versus Tony Nese. Give them a fair point. Both of them put on a stellar match, but you could have fit somebody into that TV time that was there. Heck, even as well with the Beast of Mortis and Darby Allin, you could fit something in there. You could have cut that match in time, have Darby do a wee little match against Tony Nese or Aaron Solo, and obviously to build up for what I think they're building as Darby Allin versus Jack Perry in All In. You can split the time, and they've got Rampage as well, which people get showcased on. And people going, oh, but the TV viewers, preview viewers. Look, I've seen Discovery, Warner Brothers put out releases that saying, 3.1 million people tune into AEW programming. Because here's the fact, like, people might not watch it live, but they'll watch the replays. Like, I watch it on Triller TV. Triller's not accounted into it. That's the AEW Plus program. Just because you don't consume the product live doesn't make you any less of a fan in my mind. Whenever you decide to tune in and consume the products up to your own leisure and whatever best suits your scheduling. Like, look at All In. They sold, I think, nearly 50,000 for that now in the UK, and matches are just getting announced, which is stellar to see. People are going to be like, oh, it was 80,000 one last year. Well, Taylor Swift's going to have her concert for that, so it's a new stage set up. And also as well, being the first for it, more people are going to tune in for that.
No, it's nothing to do with Taylor Swift.
Yes,
it's got nothing to do with Taylor Swift.
It's the stage setup. It's the stage setup.
They've already said they can increase it by another 20,000.
Allison, look, the stage setup for Taylor Swift has put on to Wembley. So Tony Khan said in a press release and also in an interview that he said, yes, we changed and configured the All-In stage to meet the demands of the Taylor Swift. We could put more seats.
It's not limited them 40,000 seats. I think 8,000.
I'm saying that is because they've changed the stage setup, and just to say that's not going to affect ticket sales or seat capacity in any way is utter, because it is going to change the setup and how many people you can get in. They have to do, because they're doing Taylor Swift setup and it's less people.
It's only 8,000 less. They still have to sell another 38,000 to get to that point.
But they've not opened up that sections yet.
They're going to. So they did it last year too. They didn't open up the next section until they sold that last year. It's just the way they released tickets.
I need to go based on the evidence of this year, not last year, which is
that's how they do all their tickets. They release them in batches.
Bro, they've not opened it up yet, so I have to go on based on the facts that they have now. They still sell an incredible amount.
The fact is, they open it up in batches.
Yeah, and they still sell an incredible amount for it, so they've done well for themselves. But anyway, this is about the roster size, all right? This is about the roster size. I am not against them bringing in more people. Whoever TK decides to give the TV time to is up to TK's decision. People have Rampage, Collision, and Dynamite to get the taping and display on. The main problem is they sign jobbers a part of their roster and they come up there on the names and all that. Technically, you shouldn't really sign the jobbers. They should be on a pay-per deal basis. They shouldn't be signed in a part of the actual display of the roster size. Ring of Honor needs to be a definitive showing on who's which. If anything, it's more Ring of Honor is the problem that causing the AEW bloatedness that people see and consume, because they're seeing people that appear on Ring of Honor not classified to that. Eddie Kingston jumping up in between there, and that's basically somebody who's counting on two sides of the roster because he's Ring of Honor and AEW. They need a definitive split, definitive showcasing who's which, and if you can't do that, then that's a bigger problem that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. To be fair, the Ring of Honor is certainly a contributing factor in it. But Clark, what about you? Do you reckon if they do sign another main event star, do you reckon they need to get rid of some of the others?
When I saw this, I knew it would be a difficult question. So I used the scientific method, and I actually asked a different question. And that question was, what would happen if they did drastically reduce the roster size? Could it lead to 50-50 booking? Then I gathered information. I watched the WWE for all of the 2010s, SmackDown and Raw. So I gathered the information. Then I formed a hypothesis. Yes, it would lead to 50-50 booking. Then I actually formed a second hypothesis. I cheated the method. Don't get me wrong. I totally cheated the method. But I thought all of these people watching this, and I'm just hypothesizing, might not realize what you're getting if you cut all the talent. So then I had to ask another question. I had to go back to the top of the method. And I was like, wait a minute. Are the people that think that AEW needs to reduce its roster size confused on the fact that they're not really fans of the product, period?
But they
Are
need to
they
get
really
more fans,
wrestling fans?
and people who
Are
are
they
trying to get
really
into it who are wrestling
wrestling fans,
fans.
Are they?
We had,
so
we had
these are-
wrestling takes. We had wrestling takes on last week who said the same thing. Said that the roster size is one of
But
the
did
reasons
he also
can't get
not
into it.
say that he admit fully because of the time of night that he does not watch AEW? Am I correct?
No,
Correct me if I'm
he
wrong.
said that he's tried.
Did he say that word for word?
He did say he's tried.
He kind of did say that he doesn't watch wrestling late at
I'm
night.
just saying.
No, he said
Cam
he doesn't watch it
Monster Shout-out
live.
is
He
my
said he didn't
guy.
watch it live, but that's a different matter. Because
No,
to Saul's
no,
point,
no, no,
a
no,
lot of
no,
people
no,
watch it
no,
on
no,
demand.
No. Even takes would back me up on that one. Either way, you haven't even gotten to the part where I analyze the data. So next, I analyze the data, and you look at the 2010s. I've analyzed the data. It's just 50-50 booking. The same
No,
people
that's
wrestle
not
each
what
other
I
all
mean,
the
Clark.
time. If you start you start trimming the fat, you start getting rid of other talents, you start consolidating too much. It's all cute. Everybody's on their own show. And then guess what we get? Ricochet versus Sheamus this week, and then next week, and then next week, and then the week after. And it's a best of 11 series.
He has a fair point. Like,
It's a best of 11 series. That's what happens when you shrink the roster.
Yeah, but there's a happy medium between those two.
Hold on,
and
I
you've
haven't
just gone
even
from one
interpreted the
drastic to
data.
another.
I'm on step 6.
I'm going to mention a point that agrees with Clark's taking there. How many times with the AEW tag division did we see Newcastle Republic versus Pretty Deadly, or was it?
That's true. Way too
that-
much.
we saw
No,
that-
you're
we
right.
saw that way
You're
too
right.
much.
You're right, Saul. You're right.
On you go, Clark.
So we're interpreting the data here. Soul, thank you for the help there too. That's an excellent interpretation of the data when it comes down to it. That is an absolute fact. They did wrestle each other every other week, and that's what this leads to. I get the complaints if you're a brand new fan. If you're a brand new fan and you're in a position
Which is
where
their biggest issue, by the way,
never
bringing in new
seen the product,
viewers.
I get it, but at the same time, a lot of brand new fans are also more inclined to be really, really excited by things like blood and guts. Oh, wait, they're doing a double cage and a double ring? Haven't seen this in years.
Yeah, true.
Right? Or like, didn't expect that. Whatever it may be, I know a lot of people that have been tuned out of wrestling for a long time.
Yeah.
But then they watch the current product and they're like, wait, this is what it is now? I don't know that necessarily the roster size making that link, and that's me interpreting the data. I don't know that making the link
literally
between
the
roster
exact
size
data says otherwise.
and getting new fans is a direct issue, because which data says that the new fans go, I don't know who anybody is? If you're a new fan, you shouldn't know who anyone is. You should not know. So if you've never seen the WWE,
No. It's not that they don't know who everybody is. It's that they
AEW.
watch it. It's that they watch it
too
for a
many
few
people?
weeks, and they still can't keep up with it because there's more and more people constantly.
So out of that
And there's
100
not
people, like if you were to have 100 people though,
is
and
this the
say,
same people that hated The Office because it's ensemble?
But here's the thing: if you were to grab 100 people and give them either the WWE or whatever, and say, watch this. Realistically, though, how many of that 100 pool would stay week in and week out and maybe just tune in out or one episode?
Boom.
Well, it's true, but at the same time, data suggested this year that WWE have brought in a lot of new viewers, whereas AEW is significantly down. Perhaps that's got to do with roster, perhaps it's not. We're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. I do think
data,
so.
but I'm just saying, publish these results.
I think we need to get our own data here at Wrestling Republic. I reckon we need to take this to our followers. But please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. And I think we actually might sort out some data thing for that. Thank you, Saul. Thank you, Clark. We will see you guys tomorrow. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Peace.